Howdy, hey, howdy, nerd geeks. Ollie here, and today I want to introduce you all to a concept utilized in business that you can use when considering purchasing Warhammer video games, or really any video game for that matter. To do this, I'll explain the concept and its associated formula, and apply it to a few games currently on the market under the Warhammer banner in order to show you how effective this can be when preparing to add a new title to your library, whether it be new to the market or simply new to you. But before we do that, I'll also be addressing comments from previous videos on the problems with Warhammer video games, so if you'd like, the links to watch those videos are in the description box below for your convenience. With all of that out of the way, let's get ready to get learnt and show you why you should consider buying some Warhammer video games. So first off, I have beaten the point of the bad pricing when it comes to these titles into the ground, so all I will say on it is that in my opinion, critics of these games would probably be a lot more forgiving if the prices were lower than what many are currently listed at, which I think goes for any game a player buys in general. Think of it like this: when a new game is released and it's listed at a full price of $70, which is the industry standard now for AAA releases, players who buy that game at that price expect to get their money's worth, and they will let the world know when they feel they have not. On the other hand, if a game is on sale or otherwise well below the $70 entry price when a player buys it, they will probably be more accepting of any flaws or issues it has because they've invested less money into actually purchasing the game. This is reflective of a concept used in business called value for money, not to be confused with value of money, which right now kinda sucks. So, value for money, or VFM, is a ratio used to determine a product's quality per currency unit and is found by dividing said product's quality rating from a scale of 100 by its overall price. The general rule here is that you want the VFM to at least be above 1, and the higher the number, the better. So let's apply this concept to some of the Warhammer video games currently available. For the purposes of this video, we're going to use ratings from PlayStation Store and American dollars. Because if it isn't apparent yet, I'm on a PlayStation, and I'm an American. Also, for the sake of easier calculation, I'm going to round up to the nearest dollar to make the prices even. It's only a penny. The first game we're going to apply this formula to is 40K Rogue Trader, which is currently rated at 4.38 out of 5 stars and listed at $50. When we convert the rating into the associated scale for the formula, we get a quality rating of 87.6. When we divide this by its $50 price tag, we have a value for money ratio score of 1.75. Now, that's a pretty good score. Okay, so let's do the same, but with Realms of Ruin, which PlayStation players rate as 3.9. When we do the same conversion and apply the formula, we get a VFM ratio of 1.3. Still above 1, but nearly half a point lower than Rogue Trader. Now let's apply the formula to a game I've constantly been told not to get. Necromunda Hired Gun, which has a rating of 3.47 for a regular price of $40. When applying the formula, we get a VFM of 1.73, significantly higher than Realms of Ruin and just a bit under Rogue Trader. But wait a minute. This means a higher rated game has less value per dollar than a lower rated game. How is that possible? Well, it's because the higher rated game costs players 50% more of the lower rated game's regular price. But it gets even better. Recently, Hired Gun went on sale and is listed on PlayStation for just $8. So when we use that price in the formula, Hired Gun's VFM jumps to a staggering 8.675. Nearly 3 times the ratios for Rogue Trader and Realms of Ruin combined. Now, let me throw in a quick disclaimer. While these ratios do reflect the current market of these games on PlayStation, this rating is still subjective to the individual person rating the game. Sure, the average rating for Hired Gun may be 3.47, but 19% of the 834 ratings to get that average were 1-star reviews. So the VFM to those players was only half a point in the ratio at regular price and a 2.5 if they only paid the $8 discounted price. So just because the average ratio may be good doesn't mean you will necessarily agree with it in the end, but it is a good factor to look at when assessing the cost risk of purchasing one of these titles. Also, just to note, if you're using another platform such as Microsoft Store or Steam, the ratings tend to be a little different, so your results may vary, but I think you get the idea. So congratulations, you just got a free lesson on some of the insight businesses utilize to price their products. And now you can use the same tools when you assess whether or not a game is worth it to you to purchase with your hard-earned money that is continuing to lose value. 2024, people. 2024. So why did I feel the need to give a lesson in business practice in a video on Warhammer video games? Well, I think you already know, but I'm going to say it anyway. Because this is the exact reason I feel you should consider giving these titles a shot. When you can find a game that generates a great personal value to you as a player in exchange for your time and money, then the purchase is obviously worth it. Look, I'm not going to tell you these games are amazing or that they're even underrated. Most of these games are simply average and mediocre playthroughs that may or may not bring you a suitable level of enjoyment and entertainment as a gamer. I will openly tell people that Chaos Bane is hot garbage. But I happen to love it. And that's because my personal VFM for the game is 3.3 based on my total investment. And keep in mind, that's only because I'm a big fan of the Warhammer games and settings in general. If I wasn't, and I bought the game expecting something like the old Dark Alliance games, it would probably be less than half a point in the VFM ratio, and that's on discounted prices. I'm also not going to tell you that these games are a better value to titles they compete against in any given genre. They could be, or they could be terrible in comparison to other titles on the market such as Left 4 Dead or Baldur's Gate 3. And before anyone jumps in the comments section like last time to tell me that Baldur's Gate 3 is not competing with any of the Warhammer games, or that Dungeons & Dragons and Warhammer are two completely different styles of play, while that is true, let me explain. So yes, while the flagship products at the heart of each franchise are in fact completely different game types, Wizards of the Coast and Games Workshop, the respective parent companies of the Dungeons & Dragons and Warhammer brands, both cater primarily to consumers within the tabletop hobby game market. Along with their flagship games, both franchises produce their own line of supplemental miniatures and player handbooks, their own tie-in product lines that include toys and board games, and their own extended media libraries that include several video games and book series. And even though there are many players and consumers who invest in products from both IPs, and there may even be a sense of mutual respect between the parent companies, in terms of business and marketing, they are in fact competitors. Now, competition and business practices aside, why else should players consider adding these games to their libraries? Well, if you are a Warhammer fan, that is the reason. Because you're a fan. As pointed out in a comment by user Pyromaniac77777, there are so many games out there currently in the Warhammer line that just by sheer volume, there's going to be plenty of bad ones. However, there are also a lot of good ones out there too. Total War Warhammer, of which all future mentions of, even in other videos, shall be Total Warhammer. Vermintide, Boltgun, and Space Marine are all excellent games that allow players to enter the Warhammer universes firsthand and experience the settings in a way that's just impossible through other methods. And if you can get your hands on them, the Dawn of War series and Fire Warrior are excellent representations of Warhammer 40k from their own time. Also, with the astronomical cost that comes with building and painting an army for any of the now 4 individual Warhammer tabletop games currently in production, investing in the video games is a much more cost-effective way to experience these settings for yourself, especially when they're on sale and relatively cheap to get. So whatever platform you use or medium you buy on, scroll through what's available to you and try to calculate what value it will add to your library for every dollar it costs you. Or pound. Or euro. Or krone? Whatever currency is used where you live. And remember, just because some people say a game is bad doesn't mean you won't still enjoy it. And a lot of these games are still on sale for the summer, and on PlayStation that runs until July 18th. So if you enjoyed this video or got something useful out of it, don't forget to hit, slap, smash, or otherwise click the like and subscribe buttons and help us keep growing the channel and keep producing content like this. Thanks for watching, and may the Emperor guide your hand.
We We're still waiting for that sale.
Yeah, Games Workshop, get it together!